It's the last race before the summer break for the 2019 Formula 1 season, and for the first time in history, Max Verstappen has put it on pole position. He becomes our 100th different pole sitter ahead of today's race. Let's take a look at the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship coming in to the last race before the break. So we move away from the best race ever in Germany and move on round 12, the last race before the summer break, the Hungarian Grand Prix at Budapest. This circuit has been on the calendar since 1986, only seen moderate track changes. It's virtually the same as what we originally raced on. Monaco without the barriers, 3 sectors tight and twisty, and boy does it give us close racing. We come here as round 12 of the season. Following this, we have the summer break before the Belgian Grand Prix and Italian Grand Prix serve as the final 2 races on the European stop. Before the flyaways begin in Singapore, Russia, Japan, the Americas in Mexico, United States and Brazil, and the season rounds out in Abu Dhabi on the 1st of December. In the Drivers' Championship, Lewis Hamilton leads the way on 225 points, Valtteri Bottas has 184, and Verstappen now in third on 162 points after 2 wins in the last 3 races. Vettel and Leclerc are now just 21 points separated from 4th and 5th. Gasly 6th, Sainz 7th, Kvyat 8th, 9th for Raikkonen and 10th for Lando Norris. And looking further down, the only driver without a point in the current championship is George Russell in 20th. In the Constructors' Championship, well, that's Mercedes dominant, 409 points to Ferrari on 261. Red Bull on 217, they're now battling for 2nd overall. McLaren took a big chunk last time out, 4th in the Constructors' Championship, but Toro Rosso coming in hot. They're in a battle with Renault for 6th place, Racing Point joining the battle, Haas level with Alfa Romeo in 8th place on 26, but now finally it's 1 point on the board for Williams, thanks to a penalty for the 2 Alfa Romeos last time out and Robbie Kubica. Finally, all the teams have points, but not all the drivers. Welcome to the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. Let's start then as ever with the first part of qualifying in our qualifying review. And in Q1, Leclerc gets through, but he did hit the barrier. Hopes were high after an exciting third practice session which saw the top 3 separated by less than a tenth of a second. However, as we came in, Verstappen set a blistering place, ending just 0.3 quicker than anybody else. Bottas was his nearest challenger than the Finn, doing a couple of laps before setting in his best lap time of the session. Leclerc looked pretty handy as well in the Ferrari and set a time comfortably enough to get him into Q2, but lost out of the final corner, went in backwards and hit the rear wing, destroying it, which means he took no further part in Q1, but did get through to Q2, and the Ferrari were able to repair the rear of the car. Nico Hülkenberg was eliminated as nearly, he was 15th and then down to 16th and then up again to 15th and got through. Less than a tenth of a second for Renault, he got through as well. Ferrari, as they were repairing the car, but the biggest surprise was out on the track that George Russell was flying, the Williams driver, looking set to make a shock Q2 appearance for the first time, but the quicker cars behind him meant that he was dropped out of the session. Great though from George Russell, and a shot for Williams that they might just be able to put on the right pace. Out in the first part of qualifying, where Russell, Perez, Ricciardo, Stroll and Kubica. However, replay showed Ricciardo caught traffic on his final flying lap, and the Australian was battling for clean air with Sergio Perez. Alfa Romeo's Giovinazzi was handed a 3-place grid penalty as well, post-session for impeding Lance Stroll. Let's go on then to qualifying 2. On to qualifying 2 then, and it was an interesting session as Hamilton and Verstappen tightly matched throughout. Medium tyres were the compound of choice for the front runners of the Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari, with Hamilton setting the early pace as Mercedes appeared to have turned their engines up. More impressive speed in their quick first sector, and they were quicker than Ferraris as well, who have owned Sector 1 so far this weekend. Verstappen put Red Bull second, only a few thousandths of a second adrift. Bottas less than a tenth further back as well. Leclerc slots into 4th, Ferrari challenging weekend so far for them as well. And of course Leclerc back in the session after he's damaged his front wing. Vettel was 5th. Norris looked mighty in the final part of the session, outpaced Pierre Gasly to go 6th on soft compound tyres. Red Bull sent Gasly back out another set of mediums, but he only improved fractionally. It was just jumped both by Sainz and Grosjean. Fortunately though, he scrapped through in 9th place. Grosjean looked strong with his teammate Kevin Magnussen running the updated spec down in 15th though and out of the session. So knocked out was Hülkenberg, Albon, Kvyat, Giovinazzi and Kevin Magnussen. On to the third part of qualifying then, and Verstappen finally gets his first pole position, equaling a record set by Jackie Stewart of having 7 Grand Prix victories before taking his first pole position. Now, he's won 2 of the last 3 Grand Prix. If he wins today, he brings himself right back into title contention. Imagine that. That came out of absolutely nowhere, didn't it? Bottas, who had very little running though, after an engine issue in the first practice, sprung a surprise as he pipped Hamilton as the first runs to go top of the pile, but Verstappen went quickest by nearly 0.2 of a second. There was tension in the closing stages of the session as Leclerc lit up the timesheets and he was on Verstappen's leading time after the first 2 sectors, but as happened all weekend, the Scuderia lost loads of time in the low speed third and final sector of the track. Largely irrelevant though, because Verstappen was absolutely on it throughout and was not to be denied a first career pole position, and he took it by nearly 0.2 of a second. Not bad at all, but Bottas pushed hard through and he was 2nd overall, and Hamilton failing to make the front row and only the 2nd time this year. Leclerc 4th place when he was out qualified. Vettel again for the 5th race in a row. Gasly ended up 0.8 slower, and then teammate Verstappen in 6th. Norris secured his 5th top 8 start in 6 races, both McLarens making it into the top 8 for only the 2nd time this year. When it all started, the consecutive top 10 start for Romain Grosjean as well, the 2nd consecutive back-to-back for Grosjean. But the day belonged to Max Verstappen as well, the 4th youngest pole sitter in the history of Formula 1. As I said, equaling Jackie Stewart's record of 7 wins before pole position. It's a strong chance of him winning tomorrow, as this place is Monaco without the barriers. It's very much a one-track race, and overtaking is very difficult as well. So, it looks to be on Verstappen's guard. Let's take a look at the grid then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So for the first time in his career, Max Verstappen is on pole position alongside Valtteri Bottas on row 1. Row 2, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Row 3, Sebastian Vettel and Pierre Gasly. Row 4, Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz. And row 5, Romain Grosjean and Kimi Raikkonen rounding out the top 10. Row 6, Nico Hülkenberg and Alexander Albon. Row 7, Danny Kvyat and Kevin Magnussen. Row number 8 sees George Russell and Sergio Perez. Row 9, Antonio Giovinazzi with a 3-place grid penalty for impeding another driver. He's alongside Daniel Ricciardo. And the last row of the grid, row 10, sees Lance Stroll alongside Robert Kubica. Let's take a look then at the pit stops prediction for this Grand Prix from Pirelli. Well, the quickest would be a one-stopper to start on the soft compound tyre, go to round about lap 24 to 30, and then switch to the medium compounds and take that to the end of the race. The second quickest is a one-stopper again, but if you're starting on the medium, you've got to go to lap 30 to 35 before putting the hard tyres on to the end of the race. And the slightly slower one-stopper is to go on the softs to lap 22 or 28 and then put the hards on for the end of the race. But the slowest of all is a two-stopper to go on to lap 16 to 20 on the soft compound and then go on to the mediums until lap 25-27, then put on another set of mediums to the end of the race. So it looks to be the fastest is a one stopper for those starting on the soft and the medium tyres, so it's going to be a cracker. Now then, the rain looks to be holding off as well, so we're going to have a great race here in Hungaroring, and we'll be back on Tuesday for the Grand Review podcast, but it's going to be a great race and we can't wait. The last one then before the summer break, and 3 weeks off before the Belgian Grand Prix. We'll see you on Tuesday for the Grand Review podcast. It was all here. Bye for now.